Levia is one of the most powerful characters in the lore of Brown Dust, and it appears that it's reflected well now that she is in Brown Dust too. Knight of Jealousy Levia is a pure DD unit, specializing in intense single target damage while dealing lesser damage to secondary targets. Before going any further, it is good to know that Levia is recruitable in the tavern. They tend to update the tavern when they add a character that is relevant to the overarching story in the game. So in a way, you really have no reason not to get her, especially right now while her banner is up. It is a free 10 tickets. Also, another announcement. I regret to inform you I'm at the point of my career where I must shield for myself. I am trying to reach monetization on YouTube, and I do have plans further down the line that revolves around growing a community for this channel. That includes streaming more regularly and making more community posts where I ask for your direct feedback. So if you want to support the channel, the best you can do is subscribe and like this video so that it can reach out to more people. Thanks for the assist, and now back to Levia. As stated before, Levia's damage is absurd. In neutral element scenarios, she towers above just about every other magic damage unit, including Beachside Justice Mikaela, who already has extremely high damage. The big difference between Mikaela and Levia is Levia's magic attack stat is off the charts. At level 100, it stands at 396, which is the highest in the game if you do not include the collab unit Roxy. The other big difference is the multiplier. At max power, Levia's skill damage stands at 1380%. This is the highest amount of outgoing damage in a single turn, and this even competes with most 2-turn setups. Even the secondary damage is decent. That stands at 414%, which is pretty average. This can be seen as a negative since Levia doesn't have a 3x3 pattern, but it really isn't once you consider Levia has the track and field costume that not only has a 3x3 pattern and is very strong in its own right, but it also more than doubles Knight of Jealousy's damage if used as a 2-turn setup. The actual elephant in the room for Knight of Jealousy is that the track and field costume exists, and that is so good that there's really no reason to use Knight of Jealousy in the first turn. This leaves Knight of Jealousy as a follow-up to either clean up the field or blow up a boss. This puts the SP cost more into question since both costumes cost 4 SP. If you're using Levia in normal content, and you should, you need to make sure that Levia can follow up with Knight of Jealousy on the second turn, since the debuff only lasts for 2 player turns. This can be hard to do without nerfing the damage of your opening turn, and thus concessions will have to be made when setting up a team. Honestly, if you have a build Last Hope Loane, it's more worth it to use her coupled with Track and Field Levia if you're looking to do a 1-turn sweep. But this is like the closest thing to a first world problem in Brown Dust 2. Both of Levia's costumes are so good that you want to use both on the same turn. And this problem doesn't even exist in Fiend Hunt since you regenerate SP every turn, which is why Knight of Jealousy stomps hard in that mode, and probably will even in neutral element seasons. Since guild raid bosses are shaping to be pretty similar to Fiend Hunts, I'd imagine Levia will also be amazing there too, but since I haven't experienced this yet, I won't apply it to the rating. Speaking of the rating, I kept going back and forth between an 8 or a 9. Ultimately, I settled for 8 because I do think Track and Field Levia diminishes the return on investment for Knight of Jealousy, if only by a little bit. As a solo costume, Knight of Jealousy is in a similar role to Ventana, where you want to use her to take out the boss level enemies. The difference here is Knight of Jealousy has no gimmicks, and her secondary damage gives her reason to be used in more complex scenarios. Also, if you're a new player, be sure to use her in Last Night as well, since her damage is absolutely bonkers. She'll easily push you into the next tier. You sick degenerates.